So chapter 9. Hey, you know what else builds tension and drama in a fan fiction of this level? Abusive fathers. Because that's what we have. That's what this is about. The first time we're ever introduced to Abby's father, he's just a fucking asshole. But let's start at the beginning of the chapter. See, I almost said trapter, which is actually not far off. This whole thing's like a trap. Just when you think you're out of it, it gets weirder and you have to read more. Anyway, first part of this, they meet at the church, because that's where the dramatic stuff happens, like always. And he even goes so far as to say that, I suppose I could have been worried that she wanted to talk about something dramatic. But Abby had acquired a habit of not letting me down. I'll take troubling statements for 300, Alex. This fucking thing continues from there. So they start talking, and then they start making out, which is like the first time they've ever kissed, and oh, it's the most amazing thing ever. And now they're gonna walk to her house, because he's like walking her home, and they have to keep stopping every 5 minutes to just make out hardcore, because like that's just what they do, because they're so into each other, you guys. You have no idea, okay? You have no idea. And oh, fuck. He's just the typical drunk, abusive dad. Like, he's a fucking caricature, and that's about it. And in the middle of his, like, tirade where he's yelling about how, like, nobody cares about her except him, and how, you know, oh, he's the only one who gives a shit, and she's some kind of freak, James notices there's just, like, a cop with his dog just kind of standing there watching this shit unfold. Which is not how cops work, but okay. And eventually he decides he's just gonna, like, drag her into the house. But okay. There's a specific part here. I'm trying. You know, I just had it, and then I lost it. But the hardest part about it is it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's okay. This right here. This is the beginning of this paragraph. Her father continued to rant and throw objects lying outside at his own house. Why? Why would he do that, Greg? What is the fucking point of that? It's not explained. That just happens. And he throws, like, rocks and just bottles. Just stuff that's in the front yard, I guess. Neat. I don't really know why he would do that. They're not on the porch or anything, mind you. They're in front of the house, and he came out of the house, which means that he is turning completely around to do that. I'm obsessing on the logistics of this because it's really dumb, but whatever. He decides he's going to grab this girl and drag her inside, and James is like, no, you can't. And so her dad hits him in the head with a bottle, and then the police dog just, like, attacks him, and her dad gets arrested. Yeah, okay. We also get this wonderful line. This wonderful little exchange, rather. It's not really a line. It's kind of a one thing. Anyway, I looked up to see with my blurred vision the police dog dragging Abby's dad away by his arm. From what I could make out, the cop had no interest in calling the dog off. It was as if he enjoyed seeing people who commit unprovoked violence suffer an even greater opposing force, as everyone knew it was over the moment the dog latched. Hey, that's creepy. But don't worry, it gets creepier. I could see her father's condition was not at all on her mind. She had chosen me, like I had chosen her. Not just one person or another, but everyone. So on a side note that's not totally related at all, and it's just a thing that I remembered, did you guys know that Onision tried to start a cult once? How could you guess that he might have had that mentality? It's a fucking mystery, ain't it? Let's keep going. So the end of this, right? They just go back to his house after, he got hit in the head with a fucking bottle. But he's fine because, he's like super cool, so it's fine. And it's just fucking whatever. They totally love each other, you guys. Totes love, like, so much forever. I cry every Tim. And they're just gonna sleep together in his bed. Which I was pretty sure they were already doing, but okay. Though I guess they're not, because her dad was all mad that she wasn't home. But this is what we like to call not communicating properly. So, I wasn't aware that she ever actually wasn't at his house. Because that was totally, like, a thing. Especially after, the deadliest shooting in all of the United States history. But, sure. Yeah, I don't fucking understand it, but okay, whatever, I guess that happened. And the longer this goes on, it's hitting all of the fucking bad fanfiction tropes. See, there's bad fanfiction that's just, like, way too sexual. And everybody's seen that, and everybody knows that. That's one thing. But you guys, I've read multiple kinds of terrible fanfiction because, I'm a weirdo and I don't have much of a fucking life. So, the bad dramatic fanfiction, the bad emo fanfic, is a whole thing. It's a whole mood. You're not... If you don't know it, it really catches you off guard. But I've seen several of these. It's the idea of you have to keep escalating in order to build more dramatic tension, to make everything more dramatic, and to make it seem like every little thing has, like, this huge purpose to it. I mean, it doesn't, but that's what they're trying to do here. And this is the level we're at right now. That's what this is right now. Because keep in mind, we just hit a whole bunch of the tropes. We have the misunderstood girl and the misunderstood boy, and they totes like each other, and there was a whole will they, won't they get together, and then they do. And there was the angry ex-boyfriend, and there's the jock. Oh, and there's, they have to have a fight. There's always a fight. At least one. There's multiple in this one, but there's always at least one. They're always misunderstood. Nobody understands their scars and their inner pain and all this other shit. And then we have to start escalating because the story is not about will they get together or won't they at this point. We've already passed that threshold, so now we have to figure out what's going to happen to these two and how do we do this. This is... Once you're aware of this, it's like seeing the tropes that make up every rom-com film, where they're just like, oh, it's funny, will they get together? They do. Oh, third act breakup, shit like that. We're at that level. But the bad fanfiction equivalent of that when it comes to this kind of shit is first we have them finally get together, and the first kiss is a huge thing that we have to, like, build towards. And there's all this kind of, like, oh, geez, oh, I don't know, oh, it's really infuriating. And then we have to, like, constantly put in more weird stresses. So if it's the bad angsty, even though it's got the romance in it, but if it's a lot of, like, emo and angst stuff, there's going to be multiple fights in which our hero either loses for the sake of looking like the sympathetic hero, or wins just handily, no problem. We've seen that happen with our main character now at least once. There's the damsel in distress thing. She's in some kind of danger, and he has to be a man and run to her rescue. And yeah, it's very... okay. And then we have to have the constant escalation because we can't, just have normal people figuring things out together. We have to have this escalation of more and more dramatic things happening. So what's more dramatic than whether or not these two are going to get together. Well, a school shooting, for one. What's more dramatic than that? Well, abusive father, for one. I'm honestly expecting this to end with either a giant fire or a fucking UFO abduction. It has to end in the most insane way possible. It's gonna end like the fucking crazy endings in Silent Hill. There's gonna be a fucking corgi in charge of everything and a giant computer bank wearing a little headset. I was gonna say, I don't want you to know how I know that, but that actually is the thing. It's a Shiba Inu, but it's in the Silent Hill games, that's true. You can look it up. I'm serious, that's a real thing, and it's fucking hilarious and adorable. But yes, I expect this to end in the most dramatic way possible. Something insane has to happen. They are absolutely going to be together. That's just, like, without a doubt. But something completely fucking insane has to happen. And it's usually going to be, like, a build-up towards something, and then, like, a huge fucking thing. And they may or may not have that, you know, last-minute twist where everything's just kind of like, whatever, you know, some kind of goofy thing or something like that. And I say that because that's quite literally how the Twilight series ended. And that's how a lot of fan fictions that are very emo tend to, like, lean into that, because it all fits the same kind of model. We are talking about a movie series that ended with a giant fuck-off battle scene. But no, it was all a dream, yo. And if you think I'm making that up, go look that up too, because that actually did happen. So, yeah, I don't know how this is going to end, but that's my prediction. Something incredibly dramatic is going to happen, and it may or may not be like a fuck-off thing, and then it's just going to drop. It's just going to fucking flop, because these stories never have a good ending. They just have, like, a thing happens, and we're done. It is the literary equivalent of farting in an elevator while the doors are closing, and leaving it to everybody else behind you. That's what I predict is about to happen. But I don't know that. We'll find out together. So thank you all for watching. If you're enjoying this, make sure you do the YouTube thing of the liking and the commenting and subscribing and all that shit. And I'll see you in the next episode. I love you all so very much. Goodbye.